The House of Lords,
Yes.
it's a thing that's been discussed in debates.
Yes.
Could you talk about what is the role of the House of Lords and what are the roles of Lords and Baronesses in the Houses of Parliament?
Right. The role of the House of Lords, and we need to be clear about this, because when anyone talks about the House of Lords, they normally talk about composition, and they can't answer the question, or they might not be able to answer the question, or haven't thought about the question, which is, what is the role of the House of Lords? And I think the role of the House of Lords, and many do, the role of the House of Lords is to revise legislation, be an additional check on the executive, and a source of expertise. And revised legislation means change it. So you've got a bill that's normally come from the House of Commons and normally drafted by the government, and we will suggest changes. But to do that, we've got to be able to defeat the government. So the government might think, for a variety of reasons, we could go into that, but they might think their bill's perfect, but it isn't. I mean, I can give you my own examples of where imperfect bills have come to the House of Lords, and we've suggested changes, and then send it back to the House of Commons. But if you can't defeat the government in the House of Lords, you can't send it back to the House of Commons, which, and in normal times, the term House of Commons and the government are more or less interchangeable, because the government's got a majority in the House of Commons, and the Prime Minister, to be Prime Minister, you must enjoy the confidence of the House of Commons, which means normally that you will always win a vote in the House of Commons, unless it's a trivially little matter. So that's really important to understand. The role is to revise legislation, additional check on the executive, and a source of expertise. So therefore, if you want to have some expertise, it means that you must have had a proper job, you must have had a career before you got in politics, you must really be a career outside of politics. And I think one of the directions that we're going wrong is to have an increasingly large proportion of the House of Lords with limited experience outside of politics.
Then, do you feel it's right that there are members of the House of Lords that are actually party affiliated? Is it not best that maybe people are crossbench or neutral and they're actually drawn in from industry, as you just said, because many Conservative, Labour and other party peers are, party activists or senior members in societies and stuff?
We do have a large crossbench component to the House of Lords, independent crossbench peers. I would offer some criticism, and it's not down to the members of the crossbenchers, it's down to the appointment system, partially HOLAT, partially other issues, the House of Lords Appointment Commission, where they're appointing lots of people who are eminent, but quite a lot of it, frankly, is public sector one way or the other, public sector or arts, and actually not so many industrialists particularly, and engineers and business people. I'm not saying there aren't any, there are, but I would say the bias is more towards appointing really good public sector, and they're good people. I wouldn't offer any criticism of any of them, but it's the overall composition of the crossbenchers. Turning to the political benches, first of all, you've got to have political benches because you've got to have some sort of structure. You've got to have, if you've got a Conservative government, you want to have the Conservative benches who will seek to support the government. And if you've got a Labour government, then you need people on Labour benches. But I think we're drifting into a direction of having, on the political benches, increasingly people who are just purely politicians. They either come from the House of Commons, and when I came here in '92, to get to the Lords from the Commons, you needed to be a cabinet minister, preferably 2 tours, so not just one cabinet job, 2 cabinet jobs, or speaker, deputy speaker, or an MP of stratospheric reputation. Stratospheric. So just being a junior minister in the 90s wouldn't do it. And just being a commendable backbencher, forget it. You'd have to be, as a backbencher, you'd have to be stratospheric.
So then, you would suggest there could be a reform in terms of how House of Lords members are actually recruited or brought in to be representative, or specifically on the point that you said, to provide their expert opinion to the House of Commons, to
Parliament.
Parliament. Yeah, interesting. Okay.
So what we're going to do with Lord's reform is we're going to get rid of all the hereditary peers, the remaining 92, who all had, and nearly all had, an ordinary career before they came to the House of Lords. So they've got expertise in something. So I've got expertise in road transport operations, overseas aid, military operations. One of the crossbenchers is a civil nuclear engineer, senior civil nuclear engineer, and we want to go net zero, but we're going to get rid of him. If you look on the military side, we've got a crossbench peer who used to command a submarine. Lots of hereditary peers have got aviation experience, can actually fly an aircraft, or have been able to fly an aircraft. I have to say there's a Labour peer, Lord Tunnicliffe, who was a commercial airline pilot, and B, he was the managing director of London Underground.
Wow.
So got some very, very experienced people, but increasingly, I'm afraid, we're getting, I would say, almost recycled politicians.
There are
and junior ones. And my experience, a former cabinet minister is just different and better than a former junior minister or backbencher.
I see.
They've got a different cassette fitted. I don't know how, but in my experience,
you see
the former cabinet ministers of any party, they've got a different cassette fitted.